Good morning and happy Thursday. Tomorrow is Halloween, or more traditionally known as All Hallows Eve, which would make today, Thursday, Halloween Eve, if we follow the same logic that we do for some holidays. So we've got two holidays back to back, Halloween Eve and All Hallows Eve. Hope you enjoy both of them. We've got a lot to discuss today and go over. With Halloween being tomorrow, and probably one of the only days in the year that you can knock on a stranger's door and get some food or candy for free, according to some people on social media, they plan to do that more frequently starting November 1st because, you guessed it, their SNAP or EBT benefits are running out. Obviously, it's something that you have seen in the news or on social media, and we're going to break down a couple of those glamorous, joyful, wonderful individuals who decided to put out some threats on social media. We're also going to talk about why this is happening, whose fault it is, and more spiritually, what we can do to help our fellow man. And of course, like we do on all Thursday episodes, we're going to go over the memes or best videos of the week. So we've got all of that to get to. And of course, welcome back. I'm Bryce Wheeler, and this is We the Future. Welcome back. We're glad you're here. We've got a lot to go over today, as we always do. Now, if you haven't seen it in the news already, if you haven't seen it on social media, if your mom hasn't reached out to you to make sure that you know what's going on, if you aren't really plugged into the current situation that we find ourselves in as a country, let me be the first to tell you. Today is October 30th, and not only is it the day before Halloween, but it is the 30th day of the federal government shutdown. We find ourselves in a very, very strange, weird, confusing, and probably not the best situation that we can find ourselves in. Now, it depends who you ask. Me personally, like I said on previous episodes, I'm not really that affected. But today we're going to talk about something that affects a lot of people in this country, 40 million to be exact. Now, with that, on Saturday, which not only is the first day of November, the day that my wife can officially break out her Christmas decorations and begin plastering them all over our home. Not only is it a day filled of college football and big games, big rivalries, it's also going to be filled with probably a lot of you that have stomach aches from all the candy that you stole off of your kids or candy that you just stole from your own bucket. And you told yourself you weren't going to eat it, but you did so anyways. So now it's the morning after, you have a horrible chocolate hangover, and it's Saturday. Not only will all that take place, but on November 1st, Saturday, the SNAP social welfare program, or the EBT benefits, will be paused for the month of November, and as of right now, for the immediate future. Now, let's talk about why that is happening. If you haven't viewed or listened to episode 2 of this podcast, we're only a few episodes in, so you're not that far behind. Go back and watch that episode, because it's going to paint pretty good, clear light into the situation. And today we're going to continue that conversation because it ties right into why the SNAPS program is no longer going to be funded for this month. Now, I don't want to cause division, but today I do. I'm feeling, I don't know, the Halloween spirit, right? I want to cause division because I want it to be painstakingly clear, crystal clear, damn clear why this is happening and who's to blame and who's at fault. Now, let's jump into it. The reason why this is happening is because right now the federal government refuses to pass a continuing resolution or a clean CR. What that means is they're at a standstill. Nobody gets what they want, whether it's Democrat or Republicans, because they can't seem to agree on what exactly they want. This, what we're going to talk about today, solely, and the entire government shutdown solely falls on the feet and at the feet of the Democratic Party, the Dems, as I'll refer to them quite often. They are the ones to blame. Why are they the ones to blame? Because they are refusing to do things like, let's go over it. Obviously, open the government, fund our military servicemen and women, fund federal workers, fund the social programs like the SNAP program, and overall just not send stupid programs in other countries American taxpayer money. Now, this week, unfortunately, is the week that we will see air traffic control workers stop working. Why? Because they're no longer being paid. So we might see delays in the airport. We might see cancellations of flights. So my opinion and my advice to you, if you don't have to fly, don't fly. It's Halloween. Knock on any door in America. You can probably get candy there. You don't have to fly to any state to get it. Now, that's happening. On top of that, we have children going to bed hungry because children rely on the welfare programs that their parents are on, and their parents are relying on those programs to be able to fund and provide food and benefits for their families. Now, in my opinion, explicit warning, welfare programs have done shit all for poverty in America. In my opinion, it's made it way worse. The Dems claim that they represent the weakest, the poorest, the most vulnerable in this country, that they are on your side, and that they just want to help you out. They want to help you live in a better country, one where you don't have to worry about going to bed hungry. Yet at the same time, they are the ones that are taking food out of children's mouths, literally out of their mouths. That isn't just some charismatic phrase that we're going to use just to illustrate or paint the picture a little bit better for you. That is literally what is happening right now, or will be happening starting November 1st here in America. Their inaction, the Democrats' inaction, is their choice, completely their choice. Nobody's forcing them to do this. Well, unless you want to get conspiracy theory mode going. Nobody's forcing them to do this. Nobody's telling them not to vote. Nobody's telling them what to do. They just are refusing to vote, refusing to pass and agree on a clean CR. Now, they've enslaved people on the welfare program of SNAP. The EBT benefits that people get, they're enslaved to them. Because the same country and the same government that claims that it can feed you is also the same government that can starve you. And if there's one thing that's crystal clear that this paints a perfect example of, is that socialism and communism doesn't work. Never has, never will. If you don't want to pick up a history book and look back on the times, the civilizations, the countries that have tried socialism and communism, that's fine. You don't have to. Just turn on the freaking news. It doesn't work. So today we're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about the Democrats and why they're to blame. And in my opinion, we're going to talk about what can solve what's going on right now. As always, I hope that this is helpful. I hope that it's beneficial. I hope that I can paint the picture clearly enough for you. Hell, I might have already done that within the first few minutes of this episode, and you don't have to watch anymore. On October 1st, the federal government entered shutdown due to Congress failing to pass a full year appropriations, or a stopgap CR, to fund essential programs. Okay, we got that down. We got that clear. Set it in a box. Okay, Republicans have been there asking them to pass it. It's not like they've just taken their foot off the gas and gone on a beachfront vacation. They've asked Democrats to continually to agree to something, right? The Dems won't. Now, how many times have they asked? How many times have they voted on this? Well, let me give you a little hint. 13 times. Let me say it louder for the people in the back of this podcast. 13 times. 13 times now, they have voted. And in the most recent vote, which was Tuesday, the vote failed 54 to 45. 54 in favor, 45 in not favor. And one just not voting, I don't know, because he's an idiot. You need 60 votes to pass a clean CR. So 54 to 45 falls short. Now, on November 1st, which is Saturday, the Food Aid, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, better known as SNAP, the ones that the Democrats, back during the Obama administration, said that they had to fund and expand like crazy, that is going to come to an end. It's going to stop. Now, in recent data, this is the most alarming statistic that I think, at least in the first 5 episodes we've ever given. 42 million people per month rely on the SNAP program. 42 million people per month. 12% of all people who live here in America depend on that program. Now here's an even, stoke the flame, fuel the fire. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is the program or the entity of the government that gives out the SNAP benefits, they do not have contingency funds to fund it when the government can't. The ones that they do have contingency funds, or the rainy day fund that they have, legally cannot be used in this situation. So what that means is millions will not be receiving their benefits for the month of November. Now, I want this to be so crystal clear. Okay? So I did a little bit of work for you. I found something that, in my opinion, probably paints the picture pretty clear. So let me show this to you so that you can have an idea of what this truly means. Here we go. Bear with me. Appreciate you. This is a map of the United States. Okay? Map of the United States. What does it show? Well, shows all 50 states, right? There's still 50 of them. You will see in here, you'll see 15 states that are highlighted. 15 out of the 50. In these 15 states, there are 40 million people. 40 million is the population of all 15 of these states added together. Now, if you want to get to the 42 million number that is also being thrown around, you just add in Alaska and Hawaii, and it gets you there to 42 million. So technically, we could have Alaska and Hawaii painted red too, and that would give us a total of 17 states. These states make up the total population, or the total amount of people that are currently on the SNAP welfare program. Let that sink in. Think about that for a minute. If you took all of the population of Oregon, Nevada, Idaho, Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Iowa, If you added all of those and throw in Alaska and Hawaii for good measure, that would equal the total amount of people in the United States that are currently on the SNAP program. Now, you might be asking yourself, Bryce, why are you saying people and not American citizens? Because here's the most staggering part of this entire situation. We know that it's not American citizens. We know that. The data's out there. It's been leaked. It's been exposed. It's been broadcasted almost on every single mainstream media outlet. And now it's going to be broadcasted under mine. 42 million people. And guess what? 59% of that number, or 59% of illegal immigrants in this country, are on SNAP benefits. 59% of all illegal immigrants. Now, let's break this down even more. Let me show you this number, okay? Let's break it down just to give you an idea, because I say people, you say Americans. That's not the case. So let's talk about why that's not the case. Let's go back to this. Here we go. Can't find it. Beautiful. Don't you love that? Bear with me. Let's see here. Thought I had it all ready to go. I'm wrong. So let me show you this, because this will paint a pretty clear picture for you. All right. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for bearing with me. Let's show this. Okay. This is food stamps by ethnicity. Percentage of U.S. households receiving SNAP benefits. Afghan households, 45%. Somali households, 42%. Iraqi, 34%. Dominican, 34%. Caribbean, 28%. Native Americans, 27%. Puerto Rican, 27%. Cuban, 25%. Black Americans, 24%. Arab, 23%. Cambodian, the list goes on, 23%. That's why I say people, is because it's not just American citizens that are receiving these benefits. It is people, just people receiving these benefits. It's crazy. It is why I say that not only is it a program that should have never existed, only for a specific and few individuals or groups of people, but now we're seeing the Democrats weaponize hunger. They're weaponizing hunger because of, and why, partisan standoffs. SNAPS is a Democratic program that started and was from the 1960s and 1970s. And by 2020, over 40 million people are on it. Now, previous shutdowns have delayed SNAP benefits, but they've never endangered monthly food assistance. Shutdowns are supposed to be just a temporary government interruption, which in my mind are great, because we can take a look at the government officials like they did us during COVID, and we can say, you're not really an essential worker. If I didn't really see that big of a benefit or change when you were working versus when the government was shut down and you weren't working, I don't think we need you anymore. Be gone, right? Because we control the government. That's what it's supposed to be used for, which in my mind makes perfect sense. Have a shutdown every once in a while. Make sure that we hold these people accountable for what they're supposed to be doing. It's not supposed to be used as a standoff by the Democrats to basically throw the world's greatest temper tantrum hissy fit from hell over whether or not they get to throw money into governments and programs not in America, or we're just not going to feed the hungry. We're just not going to feed children. We're just going to cut off all benefits. And if you want to, have some food in your mouth, you better come to the table with the stuff that we've requested, right? If you remember AOC saying she doesn't take IOUs, she only takes, cold, clear, calculated, manipulative requests. That's what she takes. That's what the Democrats want. Now, Democrats always have said, at least during other government shutdowns or during times where Democrats want to increase the funding of the SNAPS program, Democrats have always said Republicans want to harm children. You want to starve children. If you don't want to increase the SNAPS benefits, you are starving children. How dare you, Mr. Republican? But now we clearly see that's not the case. If the Republicans didn't want to increase the spending, and that is what is being deemed as starving the children, starving people that are on those welfare programs, then the Democrats clearly saying, I didn't get what I wanted, so we're just not going to fund it. Then that's a clear, blatant example of somebody actually starving children. So we can clearly see now, and for all of you people that are going to say, well, if Republicans still want to harm children, bullshit. That's bullshit. Republicans don't want to harm children. If we don't want to, pay for gender mutilation, we don't want to pay for other programs that you deem responsible and, beneficial for the whole world, and, put gay, transgender flags in the classrooms and teach them about DEI and all of the reasons why white people suck. That's harming them if you don't want to do that. No. What's harming children is when Democrats don't get what they want. They don't get to send money to Botswana to save the, moaning turtles that are almost on the verge of extinction. So you're not going to fund this program that feeds American and other people their children. That is harming and hurting the children. So AOC, Bernie Sanders, other Democrats that are the ones that are making up the 45 people who are not voting to pass the clean CR, you can save me your spiel in a year or two, or probably sooner, about being harmful and hurtful to children. You can just save it. All they have to do, all the Democrats have to do, is pull funding for all the stuff that they claim is important, right? And just fund and agree to the clean CR. They just have to pull what they're negotiating for. So now, because they won't do that, Democrats are leading us into the longest shutdown, and they're doing it knowingly. They're knowingly doing that. So they can save the sob story of Republicans have always been the ones that aren't willing to negotiate. They're not willing to, compromise during shutdowns. That's just not the case. Dems are the ones that are now clearly cutting it completely. Now, let's talk about this as a state level. Utah won't be able to fund or help the program at all. We just can't afford it. So not only us, but other states can't afford to fund the program either permanently or even for just a small stretch of time. So we have states now like Delaware, Rhode Island, and Virginia who have declared a state of emergency in anticipation of the loss of benefits starting November 1st. Families live on the system. Children rely on it. And if the system can't fund, it's clearly shown to me, at least I hope to you now, the system doesn't care about you. It doesn't love you. It never has. It never will. The Democrats don't care about you. And in some stretch of the words, I would also say that some Republicans don't care about you, because there's also Republicans that are sitting on the other side of the aisle that are part of the 45 voting not to agree to the clean CR. So where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us with this holiday season. Food banks are going to be swamped. places that offer meals and help and, nutrition, they're going to be the ones that are overload. When food is scarce for families, what happens? Stress rises. Stress happens. It naturally happens. If you can't feed your family, you're probably going to be stressed. When stress rises, unfortunately, suicide increases. You also have more sick people because they can't get the nutrition that they need. You also have more people that, because they are sick, now flood and overrun the hospital system. On top of that, you also have more theft and more civil unrest. All while Democrats sow the seeds of taking officers off of the streets, decriminalizing criminals, releasing them back into civilization. All of it is just, in my opinion, fueling the fire, stoking the flame. And what we talked about last time, right? On the last episode, government being weaponized against the citizens. What we talked about even before that, we've talked about what's happening with the No Kings protest, right? Last week it was No Kings. This week it is King, please feed us. Irony at its finest. If federal government can't fund the program, states will have to try to step in and pay for it out of savings, which, if you know, just from an economic standpoint, if you dip into your savings to then pay for something, it makes you less strong. It makes you more vulnerable for collapse. So if states are dipping into their rainy day funds to pay for this program, then that means that states now become vulnerable and are more likely to collapse. Democrats don't want to restore any of that. They don't want to restore anything. They aren't even a party at this point in time of common freaking sense. It's gone. It's lost. They're the party of, let's just go against everything that doesn't make any complete, simple sense. So with that, they're for political violence, especially against people who disagree with you or openly speak out against you. They're for funding dumbass rallies about people marching around with Burger King crowns, crying about a potential king that we never have had since 1776. Now they're also for funding revolutions that are burning streets, burning American cities, making them completely uninhabitable. You can't even walk through them. We've talked about that already with what's going on in Chicago and Portland and countless other cities. And now they're up in arms, especially today and yesterday, this week, because a private donor decided he wanted to dip into his own piggy bank, his own pocket, and pay for the federal armed servicemen and women to be paid. He dipped into his pocketbook of $130 million to pay our armed military, our armed men and women. And Democrats are upset about that after they spent $300 million on a No Kings rally. Help me make this make sense, you guys, because it just doesn't make any sense. Now ask yourself, with all of this knowledge, with everything that we've talked about, with everything that you see from other outlets and other media sources, ask yourself this simple question. Who is really for America? Who is really for American citizens? Not people in America, because that's a different subject. That leads us down a different road. Who is really for American citizens? Who is really America first? If you find the answer to that question, I think you find where the corruption begins. If you start to recognize white a little bit more, you're also going to in turn be able to recognize when it's not that color and when it's black. Now, this is all just a prime example of the motto that I'm going to pin to and that the Democrats have pinned to, that the ends justify the means. That's their new motto, right? Other than being the party of inclusivity and the party that, just wants equal rights for all and open borders and, against, Orange Man and all that he stands for. Other than that, the ends justify the means. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's happening right now. It's pretty clear. It's okay for you, it's okay for people to suffer. It's okay for your planes to be delayed if you're flying. It's okay for them to be canceled. It's okay for military families who are already suffering and struggling to be pushed even more into debt because they're not getting paid. It's okay for kids to go to bed, wake up, and go to school all while being hungry, as long as their goals and their plans and their primary elections happen the way that they want it to happen. Those things are more important to them, which is then the answer to, or the embodiment of, the ends justify the means. And that is what we will see. The justification of everything will happen here in the next few days. Now, to make matters worse, insiders on Capitol Hill are currently saying that we should plan, if not, people are betting on this, on Polymart. Insiders on Capitol Hill are now saying that we shouldn't plan on the government reopening until right around Thanksgiving, if not after Thanksgiving. Now, here's the, I'm at a loss for words, you guys. I really am. Do I like these programs? No. I think they should be used for the elderly, the disabled, and those who want to use them or need to use them temporarily while they're finding new work or getting back on their feet. But instead, they're being used by, in my opinion, the worst people who are just exploiting the federal government. Which, you don't have to take my word for it. Let's jump into some of the videos that I saved for all of us to watch together, because I'm just that nice that why suffer on my own when I can suffer with all of you. We can all watch them together. So let's watch these videos together so that we can see a little bit about what we're up against.
9 to 5.
I don't want to.
There it is.
I don't
Government,
want to.
Kansas, Missouri, take away her food stamps right now. Did you just hear that? Take them away. I'm not even kidding.
I will
You
say.
don't want to? F you. That is
I
not
really
a
don't want
choice.
to.
Huh?
I don't want to.
Then that is not fair. That is not a choice. Subsidies should be there, and even more for those who cannot.
So my sister made a video about how my whole entire family gets EBT. And everyone is calling us bums because we don't work and we live off the government. And we are proud of that. Growing up, this is what we were taught. We were taught to not have to work. We were taught to live off the government because it is there for us to use. So living off of EBT is literally a tradition in our family.
No,
These people suck. I don't mean to use bad words on Halloween Eve, but these people suck. They expect you, the hardworking American who is struggling as well to get by, they expect you to pay for their life, their lifestyle, their Doritos, their Gatorade, and their fruit juices and popsicles and frozen corn dogs that they can stuff down their gullet as they sit on their couch watching episodes of The View. These people suck. The people that are using it for what it's supposed to be for, okay, great. But if you're one of those people that are using it like that chick because her grandmama and my grandmama, mama, and her ma, and they all taught us to live off of the government and just mooch and to live that lifestyle. Go to a different country. Go to a socialist country. Go to a communist country. Go somewhere where they pick out your clothes for you. They wipe your butt for you. They tell you what you can eat, can watch, can drink. Go there. See if you're going to get your sugary soda there. No, you'll have yellow water that tastes like piss, and you'll be grateful that you just have that. These people suck.
And y'all need to stop calling people lazy because they don't want to get a job.
It is the taxpayer's job to pay for my kids to eat and for my kids to be taken care of. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids.
I am allergic to work. I can't work.
Oh my God.
I refuse to work. The whole reason I had kids was the amount of government benefits that you get for one child.
Red Lobster ain't got nothing on our free food stamp seafood bags.
Trump has cut my food stamps from $2,800 down to $350. Now they're telling me I have to go work. Now I have to go do all this. Well, I literally got 5 kids. Okay, I'm trying to sit here and spend time with them. I'm not trying to go work, 50, 60 hours a week so I can pay bills.
Y'all all talking about, oh, you able-bodied, you can work. What about your grandma and granddaddy was able-bodied and could work out there in the mills, but they still went over there and stole money and brought them back over here to work in their mills. What about them? What about them? It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it.
I got to stop. I can't. If you want the video, I'll send it to you. Just send me a message on our Instagram. I'll send you the whole thing. I can't anymore. We're like just over half. First and foremost, can anybody in the comments translate what the hell that last lady said? I sure can't. Hopefully, we've got closed captioning on this video so that we can figure out what she's saying. But before that, they're screaming at their camera, which if you have to scream at your camera about something like this, it probably shows you you're a little crazy. Right now, I'm screaming at the camera. It's just me here talking to you. Call me crazy. I'm fine with that. I'm crazy because I'm sick and tired of this happening. I'm sick of this in our country. I'm sick of people like that third lady or second lady, the one that's in her car that says she's allergic to work. If that's the case, when you wake up in the morning, I hope you just don't stop sneezing. I hope every Benadryl and Allegra and any nasal spray that you stick up your nose never helps you. Why? Because you're breathing, that's work. You're walking, that's work. Your hands shoveling food into your mouth and you're chewing and digesting, that's all work. I hope you sneeze throughout the entire process. The fact that these people have children and knowingly say out loud to other people they had children because of how much money they can get from the federal government, and that's the only reason why, what a slap in the face to your child. And B, to the guy that says he wants to spend time with his kids. Brother, how many Americans, how many people out there working, grinding their ass off to make ends meet, don't get to spend time with their kids every single day, maybe even every single week. Maybe on average, like a study that I saw before on social media, on average, men in America get about 30 minutes of alone time to spend with their kids every single night. On average, 30 minutes. And yet you want me to pay for Kool-Aid packets and Pop-Tarts so that you can stay at home with your kids all day? You probably don't even pay attention to them. And what example does that set for them? Horrible example. Because then they turn into that other chick that we watched that wants to talk about how her family just got passed down all of these cool little snippet tips on how to live off of the federal government's dime, off of your dime. The Republican senators brought a plan to fund SNAP and to pay federal workers until the end of the shutdown on Tuesday when they voted. But the Democrats said no, because in that little temporary CR, if you want to call it that, the Democrats didn't get anything that they wanted out of it. So they said no. The Democrats want illegals to have benefits so bad. The Democrats want, I got to flip the page so I can find some of these programs and read them off to you all again. The Democrats want so bad for Zambia to have vasectomies and circumcisions. So we got to spend $3 million to them. The Democrats want to send $3.6 million so bad for male prostitutes in Haiti to be able to learn how to cook a pastry and, dance, learn how to dance. They want those programs and more so bad that they're willing to allow children to starve. They prioritize every single time illegal immigrants over the American citizens. And yet they are constantly telling you, and in your face telling you, that they are for you as an American citizen. That they are the party, that they are the side of equal rights and fairness and justice and equality. And yet they will blatantly, right in front of your face, spit on you, tell you to give them more taxes so they can send it off to another country or give it to somebody who decided to hop the border. Now, why are they wanting to give illegal immigrants benefits? Here's my opinion. It's not worth a lot. If they can give illegal immigrants benefits, they can survive here. If they can survive here, they're going to support the party of the people that gave them money, i.e. the Democrats. Then, if they live in a Democratic state like Minnesota or California, where they can then get a driver's license, then they can drive. Then if they have a driver's license, when voting comes around for the midterms or the primaries or even just local elections, they can then go there because they've got their voter ID that allows them to then vote for the same Democrats that funded the programs that kept them here in America. And then it's just a vicious cycle that repeats itself. In my opinion, that is why they want to fund illegal immigrants. That's how you get the most historical voting election ever with President Biden, who stole the election in 2020. He gets 81 million votes, the most out of any sitting president-elect, more than Obama. Yeah. You're pulling my leg. Not possible. How does that happen? Well, a lot of corruption happens that way, but because you have illegal immigrants that then get the ability to vote. So that's why they're doing this. That's why they prioritize illegal immigrants over you as an American citizen. So if you still think that the Democrats are the answer to the problems that are being caused right now by Republicans, take a look in the mirror, really ask yourself right now, who is for the American citizen and who is for America? Who is America first? It's not them. It's not them. At the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves. We have to ask ourselves, who is truly for us? Who is truly against us? Because we have a country to save. We have a republic to defend. We have our rights, our liberties that have all been God-given in this great nation. We have all of those and more to stand for, to stand with, and to stand against anything that's trying to take those away. That's our mantra. That's our mantle. That's what we've been called to do. If you're an American citizen, that should be your calling. It shouldn't be supporting people that just want to see you fail miserably so that they can continue to stay in power and create the great new reset and great new civilization where we have to scan a barcode on our arm to get a loaf of bread, right? How many dystopian movies and books do you have to read on your Kindle at night, or movies do you have to go to the movie theater and spend $30 a ticket to watch? And you still don't get the programmed message that that's bad and you still want to support it? I don't get it. I really don't get it. If we were in a zombie apocalypse, stay with me here, and you roll up to some crazy compound where they've got water and food and, jobs that you can work and a way that you can survive and live within the society. They've got protection from the zombies that are out there. You roll up and you have, I don't know, maybe you're a blacksmith. Maybe you can make shoes. Maybe you can sew clothes, or you're a farmer, or you can train horses, or you can shoot a gun real well. You have something to offer that civilization, so they're going to open up their doors and take you in. That's what used to happen here in America. We used to open our arms to those who came here legally, who had something greater and beneficial for our country. Those are the people where it's like, okay, yeah, if you need a little bit of help to get by, sure, because you're going to be a great heart surgeon, or you're going to be a great engineer, or you're going to help us, win a war. In the zombie apocalypse, if you're in that civilization and some dimbo rolls up to the gates and decides that he wants to come in, but he's got nothing to offer, he's just going to sit around and mooch off of the good hard work of those that are already in the civilization, you're not going to open up your doors. You're going to tell them to turn around, get lost, we'll shoot you, or you can go get bit by a zombie. Sorry, dude. It's just not happening. We don't have any room for you here. If we continue to believe that the Democrats are for us, if we continue to believe this false narrative that I hope enough people are waking up to, that they are blaming it on Republicans, they're blaming it on Trump, they're upset with him, they're upset with a private donor paying $130 million out of his own pocket to help fund and pay our servicemen and women. If you still believe that all of those things are bad, I got nothing for you. I really don't. Now on to lighter things, right? Take a break, take a breather. Let's jump into the memes of the week, or the best videos of the week. Let's do that. Let's give ourselves something a little funny to laugh about. Remember, play along. Watch these with me. Vote in the comments. Comment which one was your favorite, which one you like. Because my pick doesn't have to be the only pick that we go with. Come on, people, join in the fun. Tap that little bubble so that you can leave a comment. All right, here we go. First one. Remember that. Write that on a post-it note. For those who are just listening, next time you're at work and have no motivation, just remember that there are millions of people on welfare counting on you to pick up the slack. Yeah, true. Too soon. Moving on.
Fellas, what's going on out here? Wall's supposed to be painted. Why ain't you guys painted the wall? Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. No, that's definitely not gonna happen. What is it, the brick or? Well, Craig thinks the wall should be black, and I'm thinking it's more of a white. No, this wall is screaming black. And see, I don't agree with that, so we're just gonna not do this job anymore. Okay, why can't you do the job you're being paid to do? If we can't agree on the color, how are we supposed to work? Am I being pranked right now? No, what you're not understanding... No, you go ahead. Okay. What you're not understanding is that we don't agree on what color, that's right, the wall should be. I think we table this for a week or two, and the owners of the house want gray, revisit it. You can't just not work because you don't agree. I think that's an unhealthy work environment. I do agree with that. Fellas, what?
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. It's a pretty good example of what currently happens in our government.
The food stamps program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They proudly report that they distribute free meals and food stamps to 46 million people on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the National Park Service, ran by the U.S. Department of Interior, ask us to please do not feed the animals when we visit the parks. Their stated reason for this policy is being that the animals will grow accustomed and dependent on the handouts, and they will never learn to take care of themselves. The food stamps program.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear what my For You page looked like this week. Obviously, a lot of videos about the EBT program, SNAP program. I think the best one, personally, was the one that explains how our government works. And if it was that way in other jobs, right? Nothing would get done because they just can't agree with each other. So what do? They take time off. I think that's the best one. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I'd love to know, right? The other thing to keep in mind, too, is when they do take time off, they still will accept paychecks themselves, which is what is happening right now, if you didn't know. Even though the senators can't agree on the clean CR to pass and then reopen the government, just in case you were worried about their paychecks, nothing's happened. They're still getting paid. They're still collecting them. Other federal government employees, military, people who are on the welfare program, they're not, but they are. So that's important to note. AOC and her teeth will still have food to chew on. Don't worry. Now, for the last 10 minutes, I want to talk about, in my opinion, what can be done, right? What can be done to help this situation that we find ourselves in? It's the holiday season, right? We've got Halloween, then we roll into November, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. I hope and I pray, sincerely I pray, that we don't see the government shutdown continue for much longer. Even though I like government shutdown or shutdowns because it shows us who needs to be let go and who isn't essential, I don't want to see those people who are affected be affected for much longer. Right? There's people in my own ward and community and church congregation is a ward, for those who may not know that terminology. People in my neighborhood who work for the government, and I heard them talking about it at church on Sunday, that they're not collecting a paycheck anytime soon, and they're pretty worried. I hope and pray for those people who are on the welfare program, that they will be able to receive benefits soon because the government is reopened. I also hope and pray that our Republicans who are voting for a clean CR, not one filled with all this money, taxpayer dollars to be sent to other countries and other programs and other funds, I hope and pray that they stand strong. Because what you don't want is you don't want the flip side of this, where now Republicans start leaning more towards the Democratic side, and eventually they win and they get all that money back that Donald Trump cut with the big, beautiful bill. I also hope and pray for that. So it's this catch-22. I don't want people to suffer because as a Christian, as a believer, I know that we're supposed to, love the Lord our God and love our neighbor as ourselves. I know that. It's the greatest commandment that we've been given. But I also don't want to see our government continue to waste and spend money, hard-earned money by us, on programs that just aren't going to benefit America, that aren't America first. Now, with all of that being said, what I think we can do during these times is we can take a look back on a parable that Christ taught in the Bible, the parable of the 10 virgins and their lamps and oil. And in a nutshell, we learn from that parable that we have to be able to help ourselves before we can then help others. That, like the virgins that were prepared with oil, we can't share it with others who aren't prepared, who slept away, who didn't think, who didn't work, who aren't thinking about rainy day funds. We can't give it to them and still have enough for us. What we can do, though, and this is my plea, my cry, my ask of the 50 or so people that are followers on this page, volunteer your time this season. Let's show Democrats and show those people who are threatening to loot and to steal and to break into your home and steal your food because they don't get the food that they were promised by the government. Let's show those people, that we can stand above beliefs. We can stand above difference of opinion. We can stand above policy, that we can actually care for them as we're commanded to do. My hope is that we will volunteer. We'll spend time. We'll go down to a homeless shelter and serve a meal. We'll go to a food bank and donate money or put together meal packages that we can then take to those who are struggling. Volunteer. Help out. If you can give money, donate to your church. Donate to local food banks or programs locally that will help people that live in our communities. That's my hope. That we can show Democrats, we can show Republicans that, hey, if you guys want to fight over what money gets sent, do it. But we're going to help those. We're going to help our neighbors. We're going to care for those who are around us because that's what we've been commanded to do. That's my hope and my prayer. Now, I hope you have a safe Halloween. Check your candy. Make sure you don't get a toothbrush or a razor blade. I don't know, crazy. I don't even know if that's still a thing anymore, right? If you do have kids, remember, if they are trick-or-treating, to take your fair share, take your mom or your dad tax. Make sure you don't eat it all in one sitting. Save some for college football Saturday. Save some for Sunday. Make sure that you're safe over the weekend. Make sure that you're prepared, right? Go to the grocery store. We did. We didn't go crazy and spend a ton of money, but we bought extra food, put some in the freezer. We got canned goods, right? Make sure that you protect yourself. Make sure that you're not going to leave yourself up to some crazy lunatic who decides to, come to your house or loot your home pantry. Make sure that you stay prepared, right? I am. Those who know me, I stay prepared, right? Check it out. We're good. But be safe. Have a good Halloween. Enjoy the time with family and friends and knocking on strangers' doors. Hopefully, you are at an age that you should be trick-or-treating. If not, hopefully you're trick-or-treating with your kids. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to a longer episode. Hopefully it helped you out. Hopefully you got something beneficial out of it. I always say this, but I really do appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like and follow us on Instagram. Comment. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Leave a comment or two. Anything helps to promote and grow the channel. I'll continue to do these videos and these episodes weekly. You continue to listen to them, view them, help promote them. And together, as we always say, together we will build the future because we, the people, we are the future. I'm Bryce Wheeler. This is We the Future. Have a great weekend and a great week. We'll see you next week on Tuesday. Take care.